Dear friends, welcome to the serial lectures on traditional Chinese culture. Today, we will talk about ancient Chinese bronzeware. Ancient bronzeware was the unique national treasure of China. They were the testimony to the civilization of the Bronze Age. The ancient Chinese society fell into the historical stages of Stone Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age. The Stone Tool Age included Paleolithic Age and Neolithic Age. Paleolithic Age is the Old Stone Age. Neolithic Age is the New Stone Age. The earliest stoneware in China was found in 3000 BC, 5,000 years ago. Next came the Bronze Tool Age. During the Shang and Zhou dynasties, the making of bronzeware reached its zenith. Afterwards, China entered Iron Tool Age. Bronze Age referred to the period when bronze tools and weapons were commonly used. The Bronze Age lasted more than 1,500 years from the Xia through the Shang and Western Zhou dynasties to the Spring and Autumn period. There are disputes as to the dating. Some were passed down through generations, while most of them were dug up from underneath the earth. Large numbers of artifacts were unearthed, featuring rich political and religious themes and high artistic value. Chinese bronzeware falls into several categories. Here is the classification. The first type is wine vessel, which is in the majority. Some are used to drink wine. Some are used to store wine, to contain wine. Cooking utensil and food container are used to make and contain food. Water pot is used to wash hand or face. Another type is musical instrument, like bell. If there is a set of bells, we call them chimes. Weapons include knife, sword, spear, halberd, axe, dagger, and a dagger axe. There are also miscellaneous objects for daily use, including ornamental articles on horse chariot. What are the usages of Chinese bronzeware? Bronze articles were mostly made as sacrificial vessels, used in ritual ceremonies, held by imperial and aristocratic families like the Son of Heaven, duke, and aristocrat to worship the heaven and earth. Bronze articles were also made for daily use. They could be used as wine vessel, food container, musical instrument, and so on. Bronze is the earliest alloy produced by human race. It is the alloy of copper and tin, or copper and lead. Copper, tin, and lead are all heavy metals. Lead is especially poisonous. Drinking with lead-containing bronze utensils for long term, many aristocrats, courtiers, and even kings would suffer from chronic lead poisoning. Bronze articles were also used as funerary objects, buried with the dead. Now, shall we probe into the bronze casting techniques? Bronze is the alloy of copper and tin, or copper and lead. There were three major casting techniques: clay mold casting, lost wax casting, and separate casting. The wine vessel here is zhi, with phoenix pattern, cast in the western Zhou Dynasty. It was used by honorable people to drink wine. It is now on show in Shanghai Museum. The wine vessel was cast with clay mold method. We shall take this cup, for example, to illustrate the clay mold casting. Clay mold method was the most widely used casting technique, including the procedures of making and engraving outer molds, making inner mold, combining the molds, drying the molds, smelting, and casting. The phoenix pattern was carved inside the outer molds. The drying process was designed to make the moisture evaporate thoroughly, so as to strengthen the clay mold. The molds were baked in the drying process. Crucible and airbag were the main smelting equipment. The casting head on the top was designed for casting. Break the molds when the metal solidified. Lost wax casting included the procedures of making inner mold, applying wax and carving, making outer mold, melting wax and drying the molds, smelting and casting. For example, the openwork cup was cast through the following procedures. Firstly, make an inner mold with clay. Secondly, coat the inner mold with wax applying wax, and then carved solidified wax into the desired shape of the cup. Thirdly, coat the wax with clay and leave an outlet for the wax, making outer mold. Fourthly, heat and melt the wax, making the wax flow out of the outlet at the bottom, forming a cavity, and continue the heating to dry the molds thoroughly. At last, melt metal, smelting, and casting. Crucible and airbag were the main smelting equipment. The outlet was put on the top, used as the casting head. Break the molds when the metal solidified. Lost wax casting can produce open work, exquisite and hollowed out. Here is the copper Jin with cloud pattern cast in the spring and autumn period. Jin was the table for wine vessel. It was unearthed in Henan province with multi-layer openwork, exquisite and hollowed out. 12 animals climb around, while other 12 beasts squat down below to hold the implement. It is the earliest bronzeware cast with lost wax method ever found in China, with complex and amazing workmanship. It is now on show in Henan Museum. Another masterpiece of lost wax casting is Zhou Yi, Zun, and Pan, cast in the Warring States period, unearthed in Hubei province. Zun is the wine vessel used to contain wine. Pan is the plate, the water pot. The wine vessel is put in the middle of the plate. It was cast with lost wax method, with superb and exquisite craftsmanship. Separate casting was an advanced casting technique. The body and the ornaments were cast separately and then were welded together. Square Zun with 4 sheep is a national treasure, cast in the Shang Dynasty, belonging to sacrificial vessel used to contain wine. It was unearthed in Hunan province, now on display in China National Museum. It was exquisitely and delicately cast, featuring separate casting. The wine vessel is rather big. Attached to the vessel are 4 sheep with curly horns and 4 dragons with double horns. The sheep and the dragon heads were cast separately. How to appreciate Chinese bronzeware. We can appreciate Chinese bronzeware from 5 aspects: magnificent shapes, exquisite motifs, profound historical information, delicately inscribed scripts, and advanced casting techniques. Chinese bronzeware took various shapes, imposing and magnificent. Some were used to store wine, drink wine, store food, cook food, contain water, while others were used as musical instruments, weapons, or daily necessities. The decorative motifs were exquisite and artistic, such as animal mask pattern, dragon and phoenix pattern, dragon and cloud pattern, geometric pattern, thunder and lightning pattern, etc. The designs of animals show respect to the nature. They embody the complete harmony between man and nature. We may read profound historical information from the bronzeware. Usually, there is a story behind each piece of bronzeware. We may also appreciate the delicately inscribed scripts. Inscriptions on bronzeware are very precious, valuable, and outstanding. There are not so many. Last but not least, we may appreciate the advanced casting techniques, such as clay mold casting, lost wax casting, and separate casting. Now, shall we appreciate some outstanding pieces of bronzeware? We will try to appreciate the artifacts from the 5 aspects. Shall we begin with wine vessel? Wine vessel is in the majority and in the greatest variety, indicating that people at that time were fond of drinking. Some were used to drink wine, while some were used to store wine. There are phonetic transcriptions marked beside the difficult Chinese characters in different colors. Those in red, namely 甲、姑、爵、智, were used to drink wine. The others were used to contain wine. 壶 is in blue. It is the wine pot, the modern kettle, taking various forms: round, square, oval, and oblate. 四 is in green. It is a female rhinoceros. 和 is in purple. It is used to mix wine with water. 爵 with thunder pattern was cast in the Shang Dynasty. The wine vessel was used to drink wine, with 3 strong feet, a loop handle, a spout, and a sharp tail. It is now on show in Shanghai Museum. The wine cup was exquisitely decorated with thunder pattern, looking quaint, majestic, and dignified. There are two short posts in the shape of umbrella or mushroom. When you drink, the two short posts will touch your nose. You may feel uncomfortable and have to drink slowly. Therefore, don't drink too much. Jia with animal mask pattern was cast in the Shang Dynasty, now on display in Shanghai Museum. Jia is round-mouthed, with 3 legs made as a big drinking cup, used in memorial ceremony. It is solemn and magic in style, decorated with animal mask pattern. Taotie is a legendary animal notorious for its greed for food. Taotie has a head with a huge mouth. It does not have a body. It is so greedy that it has even eaten its own body. It is not clear why such a strange, greedy beast was popularly used to decorate bronze ritual objects. One possible reason was probably to use its malevolent image to ward off evil. Gu was the drinking utensil cast in the Shang Dynasty, now on display in Shanghai Museum. Gu was often used together with jue. The utensil is very graceful, with horn mouth, thin waist, and ring foot, looking like a goblet. The thin waist serves as the handle. There is exquisite openwork of dragon pattern on the ring foot, showing superb casting technique. Zun is the wine jar with no lid, used to store wine. The square zun was a masterpiece of the Western Zhou Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. It is square in shape. There are majestic designs all over it. On the shoulder are 4 corners. On each corner there is an elephant head with curving trunk, ingeniously made by separate casting. The technique of casting and carving was at a high level. There are 4 Chinese characters inscribed inside the bottom. Here is the rubbing of the inscription. Buffalo-shaped zun is the wine vessel cast in spring and autumn period, now on display in Shanghai Museum. It is in the shape of a buffalo. There are 3 holes on the back. The lids are missing. The middle hole actually is a pot used to contain wine. The two holes on both sides are used to contain hot water in order to heat the wine, so it is a wine warmer. The design is marvelous and practical in use. There is a ring in the nose of the buffalo. It is valuable in scientific research because it indicates that at that time people already knew if you wanted to control the buffalo, you should hold its nose. Square hu with lotus and crane is a pair of square bronze kettles cast in the spring and autumn period. The two outstanding artifacts are now separated. One is kept in Palace Museum, the other is now on show in Henan Museum. Compared with the established, solid and solemn style, the square kettles are light in stature and graceful in style. The neck is narrow, and then it bulges towards the bottom. Two animals are attached, serving as handles. Two strange beasts hold up the kettle from underneath the bottom rim. The lid is decorated with lotus petals arranged in two layers, resembling a lotus in full bloom. At the center of the lotus blossom is perched a crane, stretching its neck and flapping its wings. Hu with dragon design was cast in the Western Zhou Dynasty, on show in Shanghai Museum. It was used to contain wine. Hu is the wine pot, the modern kettle taking various forms, round, square, oval, and oblate. This kettle is round in shape, with straight mouth, long neck, oblique shoulder, big belly, and ring foot. Two rings are ingeniously cast on both sides. It is decorated with dragon pattern, solemn and elegant. He with animal mask pattern was cast in the spring and autumn period, now on display in Shanghai Museum. The vessel is decorated with animal mask pattern. It has a dragon-shaped spout, and the lid also bears a dragon head. It looks as if the twin dragons are moving forward. The vessel was used to mix wine with water. If you cannot drink much, or if you get drunk easily, you can make use of it. You with cannibal tiger was cast in the Shang Dynasty, now kept in Kyoto, Japan. The utensil was used to contain wine with a handle. It is artistically outstanding with supernatural pattern. it features a human figure embracing a tiger. His bare feet on the hind paw of the tiger, his head in the tiger's mouth. The man's face bears no expression of pain or horror, suggesting that the man and the tiger are friends. Some archaeologists think that the man could be a wizard and the tiger his assistant. The wine pot could be a magic instrument by means of which the wizard communicated with the supernatural world. In the ancient times, wizards often exercised witchcraft under the influence of alcohol. The tube-shaped yu was cast in Western Zhou Dynasty, now kept in Shanghai Museum. The vessel was used to contain wine, with lid and handle. It is tube-shaped, different from the others, unique and mysterious. On the body, there is the relief of a cow head protruding, with two horns stretching out and two eyes shining. Gong, with phoenix pattern, was cast in the Shang Dynasty, used to contain wine, now on show in Shanghai Museum. The wine vessel is in the shape of an imaginary beast, combining several animal images. It is decorated with phoenix pattern, elegant and dexterous. The square lei was made in the Shang Dynasty, now kept in Shanghai Museum. The big vessel is used to store wine. On both sides and on the body there are 3 ears. Wine for drinking can be easily poured out. It is seriously engraved with a variety of patterns, rich and complicated, achieving magical and mysterious decorative effect. The square yi with animal mask pattern was cast in the Shang Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. The vessel is big and square, decorated with animal mask pattern used to contain wine. Yi is mostly square in shape, looking like a house. The lid is similar to the roof. Besides, there are cooking utensil and food container. The 3 in red, namely Ding, Yan, Li, were cooking utensils. The rest were food containers. Ding was originally a cauldron used to cook meat, with 3 or 4 legs and 2 ears as handles, later evolved into a ritual object. Yan, with 2 sections, was used to steam food. Li, with no handles was used to cook, to boil the whole animal. It had hollow legs. Food container, as the name indicates, were used to contain food. Gui is in blue. The food implement was used to contain cooked rice, millet, and corn, often used together with ding, the tripod. Fu is in green. It was the square receptacle for grain, such as millet, rice, and sorghum. Dun is in purple. It was the round grain receptacle for millet, rice, and sorghum. Dou is in black. It looked like the goblet used to store sauce, paste, and pickle. The giant square ding is Hou Mu Wu, quadruped, cast in the Shang Dynasty. Ding was originally a cauldron used to cook meat, with 3 or 4 legs and 2 ears as handles, later evolved into a ritual object. The 4-legged quadruped was used together with 3-legged tripod. Bronze ding was a symbol of social status. According to the rules of Zhou Dynasty, the emperor, the Son of Heaven, could use as many as 9 dings, and the duke, the aristocrat, could use 7 dings. The minister could use 5, while the official below could use only 3. There were stringent rules on the size and weight. The quadruped is a national treasure on display in China National Museum. It is the largest, heaviest, and most important bronzeware in China, cast with clay mold method. 3 Chinese characters Hou, Mu, Wu were inscribed in the inner wall. Here we can see the inscription and rubbing. Hou Mu means Empress Dowager, the mother of the emperor. Wu is her posthumous title. The utensil was probably produced in honor of the dead woman. It is square in shape with 2 upright ears looking like a manger. The 4 legs are stout and strong. Exquisite designs can be found on the vessel. Tripod for Duke Mao was cast in the western Zhou Dynasty, unearthed in Shanxi province, now on display in Taipei Palace Museum. It has 2 vertical ears as handles used in ancestral temple. It bears the longest inscriptions in extant bronzeware, 499 characters in all, vivid and true to life. Here is the rubbing of the longest inscriptions in extant bronzeware. The Great Ding for Yu was cast about 3,000 years ago during the reign of King Kang of the Western Zhou Dynasty. It is now on display in China National Museum. The tripod is more than 1 meter tall, solemn and grave. It bears the image of Taoism, the animal mask pattern. During the Shang and Zhou dynasties, the king would bestow bronzeware on his officials, while the latter, the officials, would receive such articles as an honor. The Great Ding for Yu illustrates this power relationship. Its interior is inscribed with 291 characters. The epigraph is unusually numerous. General Yu was about to launch an expedition, and King Kang was warning him against drinking. Tripod for Great Ke was cast in the Western Zhou Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. It is big and heavy, with stout and steady legs. The wave pattern is strong and smooth. The most significant feature is its interior inscription of 290 characters recording the splendid deeds of aristocrat Ke's ancestors. The Jian was cast in the Western Zhou Dynasty, now on display in Shanghai Museum. It is the food implement used to steam rice. The cooking utensil consists of 2 pots. The upper pot is used to put rice, called zeng. The lower appliance is used to boil water, called li, with hollow legs. Modern steamer was invented by the ancient Chinese. It bears various exquisite patterns, and there are 4 inscriptions in the inner wall. Gui was used to contain cooked rice. The food vessel was often used together with ding in sacrificial ceremony. The gui with studs and 3 ears was cast in the Shang Dynasty, now on show in Palace Museum. The round vessel has a bulging body with 3 handles and high foot ring, decorated with thunder patterns and studs. Tiger gui is a typical article of the Western Zhou Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. The vessel was used to contain cooked rice. It is carved with wave pattern, rhythmic and majestic. Besides, tiger pattern is cast on the cover and the bottom. The food vessel has 2 levels and the pedestal is square. It has two handles. When the lid is put upside down, it can be used as a container. The fu was cast in spring and autumn period, now on display in Shanghai Museum. The food implement was used to store cooked rice, millet, and corn, mostly rectangular. The cover has the same shape as the container. Water pot also falls into several categories. Yi is in red, used to wash hands. Jian is in blue, used to hold water or ice. Pan is in green. It was a shallow plate or dish used to contain water. Yu is in purple, used to contain liquid. The common musical instrument is bell, called zhong. Zhong is in black. It was the ancient percussion instrument. If the bell is put upside down, we call it now. Now is in crimson, deep red. If there is a set of bells, we call them chimes. The Yi was cast in the Western Zhou Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. Yi was the water pot, used as a plate to hold water. Worshippers or diners wash their hands in this basin, together with the plate to undertake dirty water. It is the biggest yi among this kind of articles. There are 22 characters carved in the inner bottom, recording that the marquis cast the vessel for his wife. Jian of King Fuchai of the state of Wu was the water pot, cast in the spring and autumn period, now on show in Shanghai Museum. The jian is a treasure. It is a big water vat used to hold water or ice. The rim is big, with big capacity. The two ears bear the image of tiger head. In addition, two little tigers are climbing up the pot. There are 13 inscriptions in the inner wall. It was the imperial object of King Fuchai. The pan was made by the official historian Qian in the Western Zhou Dynasty. It was unearthed in Shanxi province, now kept in Shanxi province. The bronze plate has shallow abdomen, with two ears, ring foot decorated with bird pattern. There are precious inscriptions in the inner bottom, 284 characters recording historical events. The chimes consist of a set of 65 bells. The musical instruments were cast in the Warring States period, unearthed in Zhou tomb, Hubei province. It is now on display in Hubei Museum. The large percussion instruments are spectacular and magnificent. The 14 chimes were cast in Western Zhou Dynasty, unearthed in Jinhou tomb, Shanxi province. It is now on display in Shanghai Museum. The 14 chimes have been unearthed and preserved. The diameter of the biggest is 52 centimeters, and that of the smallest is 22 centimeters. Historical records are inscribed on these chimes. The bell with 4 tigers was cast in the Western Zhou Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. 4 tigers were attached to the big bell. They were hanging upside down, vivid and lifelike. The single bell could only make single sound. The yue, inlaid with turquoise crisscross pattern, was cast in the Xia dynasty, now kept in Shanghai Museum. Yue was an ancient weapon. There is a round hole in the center, surrounded by 6 groups of crisscross patterns, inlaid with turquoise. The patterns are relatively simple and primitive. The sword of Gou Jian was cast in the spring and autumn period, now kept in Hubei Museum. After 2,500 years, it is still sharp and chilly. It is honored as the #1 sword under heaven. The blade is engraved with 8 Chinese characters saying the sword is made and used by Gou Jian himself. Gou Jian was the king of Yue state. He endured self-imposed hardships, sleeping on the brushwood and tasting the gall. Finally, he conquered the state of Wu and accomplished his ambition. The 8 characters are in the shape of birds, rather unusual. It is known as the bird and insect script, featuring Southern culture. The artistic characters are somewhat deformed, yet very decorative and unique. The transparent mirror was cast in Western Han Dynasty, now on show in Shanghai Museum. The bronze mirror is magic. If you let light shine on the mirror, the carved patterns and inscriptions on the back of the mirror can be reflected on the wall, as if the daylight is seen through the mirror itself. thus called the mirror of daylight. Bronze chariots and horses were unearthed near the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor in Shanxi province, together with terracotta warriors and horses. There are 2 sets, each drawn by 4 horses. The gorgeous chariot in front is relatively high, with an open canopy. It is known as standing chariot because passengers must keep the standing posture. The exquisite chariot in the back is safe and sound, called cozy chariot, because passengers could either lie or sit and keep themselves warm and comfortable. Galloping horse overtaking a flying swallow is the emblem, the symbol of China tourism. The bronze statue was cast in the Eastern Han Dynasty, now on display in Gansu Museum. When a horse gallops, it looks as if it were flying in the air. The ancient Chinese thought of a fast horse as a heavenly steed soaring in the sky. The horse has one of its hind hoofs set on a swallow in flight, while the other legs are airborne. The horse holds its head high, with its eyes staring, its nostrils flaring, and its ears up. The mane is standing erect, while the tail thrown up in the air. Its body features strong, smooth muscles, and its belly is contracted as it runs. Li Bai, one of the best-known poets of the Tang Dynasty, wrote the poem Song of the Heavenly Horse to describe the sculpture. Looking back at the swallow, the horse laughs at its slowness. The Changxing Palace lantern was cast in Western Han Dynasty, unearthed in Hebei province, now kept in Hebei Museum. The court lady is kneeling down, holding a palace lantern. She has a graceful figure. Her right arm is actually a hollow pipe, a tube, used for ventilation. It is ingeniously designed. Now, shall we try to unveil the ancient and mysterious Sanxingdui bronze culture? The Sanxingdui ruin was located in Guanghan City, Sichuan province. It has stunned the archaeological community. While digging, a farmer happened to find a pit full of funerary objects. In 1980, Sanxingdui ruin was excavated, with the most abundant cultural connotation making a sensation in the world. Both the Yangtze River and the Yellow River Basin are the parents of Chinese civilization. Unearthed relics include bronzeware in various forms, belonging to the ancient Shu kingdom, with at least 3,000 years equivalent to the Shang Dynasty. The bronzeware mainly served as religious ritual supplies with impressive protruding eyes, vacuously staring, and exaggerated facial features. The antiques are now on show in Sanxingdui Museum. The human figure is 172 centimeters tall. The pedestal is 90 centimeters tall, so the unearthed bronze statue is 262 centimeters in height, the tallest of its kind, honored as the king of bronze statue. The man is standing on the platform. He is barefooted with a pair of anklets round the ankles. He wears a long robe with cloud patterns. There are some speculations about the mysterious man. He might be an emperor or a wizard, holding some magic instrument and conducting a sacrificial ceremony. Here's the bronze mask with protruding eyes. The face is thin, with a pair of large extruding eyes, big ears, and a square jaw. The mouth is tightly shut. The extruding eyes are honored as thousand-mile eyes with clairvoyance, probably embodying eye worship. The big ears are known as wind accompanying ears with clairaudience. The mask is said to be the image of the Shu monarch Can Cong, who had extruding eyes. There is a hole in the middle of the forehead. What is it used for? The forehead may have been beautifully decorated. Just imagine how marvelous and fantastic the original overall image would be. The bronze mask has a pair of impressive protruding eyes, vacuously staring, and exaggerated facial features. Amazingly, the mask is wearing forehead ornament. The dragon-shaped ornament is 68 centimeters tall. It is embedded right in the middle of the forehead, rather conspicuous and peculiar. The prehistoric people invariably worshipped idols, firstly in the shape of animals. As time went by, the animals were replaced by half-animal, half-human figures, and finally replaced by supernatural human beings. This is the process. Bronze human figures of Sanxingdui are semi-realistic, semi-abstract. We may acquire some idea of the physique and facial look of the people in the area. The bronze head sculpture is wearing gold mask, shining and brilliant. As a sacrificial idol, he must be prestigious and supernatural, having the ability of communicating with God. The bronze human-shaped plate is peculiar and unique. It is in the shape of a human body, with no head and arms. The implement is decorated with the pattern of 5 storks. What is it used for? How to put it? Should it be inverted? There are still no answers. It's somewhat puzzling and inexplicable. The bronze beast mask highlights the eyes, wide open, big and round. The large mouth is also wide open, revealing the square teeth, neat and tidy. The mask seems weird and magic. The divine tree is a chic bronze sculpture, 396 centimeters in height. The work of art has 3 clusters of branches, a total of 9 branches, bearing 27 fruits. 9 birds are perching on the upturned fruits, with long beaks, big eyes, and spreading wings, ready to fly. A dragon is coiling downward. The trunk is upright, while the branches are indirect and curving. The sculpture has delicate artistic appeal, reflecting the superb bronze casting technique, special and trendy. The image of bird is very common and mysterious in Sanxingdui culture. The divine bird is the patron, protector, and totem of prehistoric people. They worship the bird as their totem. Here is the big bronze bird head. There are many bird-shaped objects and patterns in Sanxingdui artifacts. Prehistoric people worship the divine bird as their totem. Shu people were closely related to birds. Some kings were directly named after birds, like King Cormorant. Cormorant is the large, long-necked bird living on fish. This big bird head is quite similar to cormorant, with hooked beak. It might be the symbol of King Cormorant. The bronze sun wheel is most mysterious and fantastic. It is in the shape of a wheel, equally divided into 5 parts. There are small holes in the wheel. Most probably, the holes were used to hang up the sun wheel so that the ancient Shu people could worship the brilliant sun. Thank you very much.